Hello everyone, welcome in or welcome back. Thank you for supporting my channel and sharing your time and energy with me today. My name is Amanda, and today we have 4 soul paths for you to choose from regarding a mystery message from Spirit. Before we hop into the reading today, I just want to share my gratitude to all of you that are here, whether you are just stopping in or whether you have subscribed to my channel, and for all of the support that you've given me through your likes, comments, shares, subscribes, purchases of personal readings, donations, and purchases of my Nature Lovers Pocket Oracle deck, which is what these 4 Soul Path cards are from. The 3-pack is currently on sale. I'm not sure for how long, so feel free to take advantage of that. You can find the link for personal readings or the Oracle decks in the description box below. These are mini Monday readings, so they will be a little bit shorter than my Thursday readings, and they are also timeless, so whenever you come across it, there will be something here to align you to your highest good. Remember to take what messages are aligning and confirming for you and leave the rest. Now, if you are ready to get into it, you can find the timestamp for the reading in the description box as well, or the pinned comments. However, if you'd like me to introduce you to the soul paths, let me do that now. So for Soul Path 1, we have Fire with Stoke the Fire Within Through Joy, with the Carnelian Agate. For Soul Path 2, we have Choose Based on Feeling and Intuition with the Gnome and the Blue Apatite Stone. For Soul Path 3, we have Create Change with Action with the Firehawk, with the Prasiolite Stone. And for Soul Path 4, we have Pause to Process, Recover, and Release with Snow and the Rose Quartz. So when you are ready, use your intuition to choose the soul path that is calling to you the most. Then click on the timestamp in the description box or pinned comments to skip to your reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, Soul Path 1. Welcome to your reading. So I left the flaw in the intro. If you stayed to the end of the intro, when I said, see you in your reading, somehow my fingers got stuck to the cards and flipped them all in a bit of a jumble. Yours happened to be the first one that flew across the table. So I wonder if there's some kind of fiery energy, some forward movement, some ambition coming to the surface. There's a real drive that I'm feeling to move, to do, to create. There's a very passionate energy coming through, a lot of confidence, even though you might have some doubt, some fear, some anxiety about doing something. I feel that this desire, this ambition, this will is overriding that at this time. And I feel like whatever you are doing, you are feeling quite joyful about it. So it's like you have lit a match where you have taken that first initial step. There's an initiation, I feel, that is happening, that has happened, and you are now seeing something spark of inspiration, a spark of something new, a spark of momentum. And because of that, so long as you continue to stoke that fire with playfulness and joy, it's only going to continue to expand. So that is the first message right off the bat that I got for you. And we'll get into the tarot now. What Spirit do you have to share with Soul Path 1, please? Soul Path 1, 2 more for Soul Path 1, please. Soul Path 1, 1 more, please. Okay. we have the Page of Cups in the reverse. We have the Seven of Cups in the upright. And we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the Nine of Wands in reverse at the bottom of the deck. I feel like you might be tired of doing something, of putting in the work in the wrong places, of working harder and not seeing any benefit or rewards or satisfaction or joy, and you no longer want to continue to put in that effort. So there is a release of some kind of responsibility in place for playfulness, curiosity, joy, movement in the right direction, effort in the right direction. And I feel like that is not only something that you are being consciously aware of in your actions, but it's also something spiritual as well, where you've had to really bring down your guard and open yourself up to something, become a little vulnerable in that process. Because maybe this action that you've taken towards this goal with great intensity or great energy, even though it wasn't in the right direction, there was an underlying or subconscious drive or reason for that. And maybe you're coming to some kind of awareness of, why am I doing this? This doesn't make any sense to me anymore. So you're replacing one thing for another. Maybe your to-do list is getting shorter. You're focusing on priorities. So with all of your cards here, you might be feeling some emotional struggle, whether it is in the career sector, whether it is in the home sector. And with this being in the reverse, it's almost like a reminder for you to take a step out of the stressors for a moment. And maybe that's what you're already doing with this Nine of Wands in reverse, is you're taking a step back from pushing forward, of forging ahead, of being resilient, of being persistent, of taking on all the to-dos that you feel you need to do right now, in exchange to stepping back and assessing what the heck's going on and where does my joy actually lie? Where does it make sense for me to put my heart into? Now, there could be some escapism or insecurity here, where you might be daydreaming a lot but not taking any action. Or maybe you are feeling insecure or a little nervous about something new in your life that is coming towards you. There's a bit of an emotional vulnerability here. Maybe even blocked due to perfectionism. You're being really hard on yourself. But again, I feel like this is a moment where you're coming back into that joy, passion, harmony within self, and wanting to see that in your three-dimensional world. So I feel like you're being encouraged to reconnect with the initial joy and passion for your projects and allow things to flow without judgment, without worrying about perfection. It's okay to be a little shy or be a little nervous or be a little bit vulnerable in this process, because there's a shift happening. Now, there might be a lot of decisions or a lot of emotional feelings that come up in this process, but it is about holding space for those things and not necessarily reacting from them. So yes, you might feel anxious, but don't let that hold you back. Yes, you might be fearful or feeling insecure or vulnerable, but don't let that mean anything other than there's an inner child in here that needs a little bit of reassurance, a little bit of comfort, and maybe even some kind of security or plan or strategy, or maybe doing things in baby steps rather than trying to do things in huge leaps and bounds. Because the page energy is that childlike energy, that youthful energy, that young energy, that fresh energy. So there's a learning energy here. There's a learning to feel differently. And we can't necessarily feel differently overnight. We have to work with it. It is a process to constantly bring awareness to what it is we feel in certain moments and why. And understanding that even though I might feel this way, that doesn't mean this thing that I find joyful or pleasurable is wrong. If it's not hurting anyone, If it is really in my highest good, then I should give myself permission to explore this a little more. So there might be some confusing energy here. Maybe there's multiple things that you want to partake in. Maybe there's a lot of emotions coming up at this time, so you don't really know what it is to focus on or what it is to listen to, because there's this flood of emotion happening. And I feel like grounding yourself, because we have the pentacle here, this is an opportunity to really work in grounding yourself in periods of emotional ups and downs, and especially when you're feeling overwhelmed with certain emotions that come up or get triggered, because this Ace of Pentacles is this opportunity to not only focus on a singular thing or a singular opportunity for this moment, but maybe also a singular emotion, so that you can kind of parse through all of these different stages and phases of the emotional process of what it is you're working through, so that you can deal with them sort of one at a time if you can, grounding yourself in the reality of, is this true? Why do I believe this? And really working with trying to really root yourself, trust yourself, and find ways to be mindful. So bringing mindfulness however you see fit and whatever that looks like for you. So grounding would mean basically not allowing the emotions to take over. To listen to them, yes. To process them, yes. But to not let them take the wheel and drive. So let's get some clarifiers now. For Soul Path 1, what is this Page of Cups, please? Strongest for Soul Path 1, please. Oh, interesting. I just noticed my candle started, the flame is just, and I made that noise. The flame got bigger. So I almost feel like that's confirmation for you, where there's this flood of emotion, but there's also this intensity to move above and beyond the emotion. So we have the Queen of Swords in reverse, which can be a little bit of lack of clarity, a lack of decision making, which we saw here in the Seven of Cups, where I don't know what to believe, I don't know what to feel, I don't know what's right, I don't know what to choose, I don't know how to work through this because a lot is coming at me right now, or I'm feeling a lot. And the Queen of Swords is this energy of cutting through things, but it's really tough to cut through things and kind of cut to the chase when you're in a bit of a foggy energy, when you are in a bit of an unknown spot. So it's like the emotions are affecting how you're thinking, or how your thinking is affecting your emotions or your decision making. So I think that might need a bit of a check-in on how your thoughts are fueling your emotions and how your emotions are fueling your thoughts, and how can you find some kind of center point between the two, to understand that even though I have this feeling of anxiety or this doubt that's running in my head, that doesn't mean I have to listen to it. I can really give it space to exist and ask it what I need for it to feel settled. So do I need to move my body? Do I need to build a plan? Do I need to find some way to emotionally express myself, whether that is through journaling or singing or dancing or sharing your thoughts and feelings with someone? However that works for you, I feel like there needs to be some kind of way to help the mind and the mind and the heart kind of speak to each other in a way that helps bring you clarity. Seven of Cups in the upright. Seven of Cups in the upright. And we have the Knight of Wands, which is an energy of, I'm inspired, I've got an idea, I'm taking action, and I'm going for it. I'm just going for it. Knights, I feel, even though a lot of people think the pages are messengers, I really feel knights are the messengers. The pages are the ones that write the message, puts it on paper, delivers it to the knight, and the knight is the one on the horse to deliver it to the queen. So I feel there's some kind of message in the confusion, in the feelings that you're feeling, the overwhelm of feelings that you're feeling. And I think it's about really tapping into the things that inspire you, the things that really light you up in spite of the fear, in spite of the anxiety, in spite of the doubts that might be rolling around in your mind. This is taking action on your ideas in a very passionate way. So let the passion override the overwhelm. And I feel the inspiration, the will, the desire, even the focus or your purpose, your why. Tapping into your why might be really helpful. So Ace of Pentacles in reverse, clarify. Thank you. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, we talked about this assessment energy of taking a time out, to step back, to really assess things. Assess the things on your plate. Assess the responsibilities you have and how that aligns with where you want to go. That destiny, that purpose, that why we talked about in the Knight of Wands. You know, what is actually bearing fruit when I put my time and energy and effort into these things? What's actually truly working and what is not? And let's drop the things that aren't really working, whether it is no longer aligned with who I am or where I want to go, or if it's something that's not working for me in the physical aspect of life. Maybe it feels really burdensome, or maybe it's costing too much money, because I feel there's something grander or something bigger, or there's some expansion that you want to see in your life. And I feel the overwhelm, the emotional overwhelm of that thought is preventing you from maybe moving forward. So it's about taking a step back and almost detaching ourselves from what the emotions might mean. It's okay to have them, it's okay to feel them and process them and heal them, but don't define yourself from them. Don't define this direction based on them, because when we're moving into bigger, better things or into discomfort zones, our ego and our subconscious beliefs are going to tell us that that is not for us because it is unsafe, quote unquote. Good things might happen there, but there's a huge question mark. So our reptile brains are going to try to keep us safe in the known. So I feel like that's almost part of what's happening here a little as well. And I also think that assessment is going to open up time, space, maybe even free up some money or resources for you to go after something. Because right now your focus is on so many things that as soon as you start to pare back or prune what is not needed, what is not necessary, what is not feeling good, what is not aligned, this ace is going to turn upright, and we go from having 7 pentacles, which could be good, but if we're spreading ourselves in too many places or spreading ourselves too thin, then we can only put a little bit of time, energy, resources into those things, and they can't really expand in the way that we want. So it's about paring down to the things that are the most important, those priorities, and prioritizing those things, putting our focus and energy into those things which may feel less than, but we can actually grow them and expand them more so than the 7 of Pentacles. So that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling there. So let's get a final oracle message to end your reading. Spirit, could we get a single oracle? Thank you. Releasing. Yeah, I feel that's what you're really doing in this moment. I think that there is kind of this fire, this drive to move forward, to be inspired and to take action. But there first needs to be a release of something, a release of some kind of emotion that is preventing you from moving forward, a release of responsibilities, tasks, or too many to-dos, distractions that are on our plate, so that we can focus on the new opportunities and make space for those new things. And that is the feeling that I'm getting with both of these, is a release of the things that aren't working, and yeah, just allowing that to happen rather than trying to hold on to too much, because I feel like there might be some old dead energy here. And even though you might feel inspired and have an ambition to move forward, we can't take everything with us on this next leg. So to free up a bit of time, free up a bit of space, energy, I feel is part of your message here. So Soul Path 1, this is what I have for you. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. If you would like a personal reading or to purchase my Nature Lovers Pocket Oracle deck, the link for that is in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 2. Welcome to your reading. So Soul Path 2, you chose card 2. Choose based on feeling and intuition with the blue apatite stone. And I don't know if you saw the end of the intro where I said we will see you there. My hands swept all of the cards over to the right, and I left it in because I didn't want to cut the reading and make things look all shifty and anyways. But what was interesting is that a message came out in Soul Path 1 regarding that shift. They were moving ahead and kind of pushing all of the other cards out of the way. So I almost feel like you might feel overshadowed or pushed or small right at this moment in time. You might be feeling that way, and I wonder if you want to choose to feel differently or choose to do differently. You might even be between two different choices at this time, and both are equally good. Or maybe both aren't equally good, but I feel like a choice needs to be made at one point or another. And I'm hearing, come on baby, light my fire. And that was because the previous soul path kind of overshadowed your card and almost was like lighting these lanterns and lights for you. So it's like you might be receiving information or inspiration or guidance from something external. And moving in the dark can be very intimidating and confusing and a little scary. There's a lot of discomfort in that because you don't know where you're going. You can't see the entire path. You can only see one step in front of you. So that could be the feeling that you are embodying at this time. But I feel like Spirit's trying to come through here to help you tap into your intuition a little more. Maybe you're having some feelings about it, but that doesn't necessarily make the decision good or bad. As an example, I was recently asked to go to a very remote area in BC to read tarot, and my initial feeling was excitement but also fear. And that fear also almost stopped me from saying yes to it. Unfortunately, while I did initially say yes to it, the logistics of getting there was really, really tricky. So unfortunately, at this time, I had to turn it down. But I was super excited about the opportunity, but there was a huge fear and even a doubt about going to this place because it's like, is this really happening? This is such a cool experience or opportunity that I could potentially explore. And I almost let that, the fear, override that excitement. I had a lot of doubt, I had a lot of fear and nervousness, and so I used my intuition. What is my intuition telling me to do? What is my higher self telling me to do? What would the boss babe in me, and I never use that term, but what would the kind of the elite tarot reader in me say? And that intuition, that higher self came through and said, say yes. But again, sadly, it didn't work out due to logistics, but maybe one day. So I feel like that's almost kind of the situation you're in, where you have a choice about something that's really exciting, and you're feeling a certain way about it. You could feel excited, but you could also be really fearful or doubtful about it. And then you have another path, which might feel a little more comfortable or safe. So it's like, do I step out of this comfort zone and do something different? Or do I do things that feel familiar and stick to what I know? So let's get into the tarot now and get a few cards. Spirit, what mystery message do you have to share with Soul Path 2. Soul Path 2, thank you. 3 more for Soul Path 2, please. And my hands, it's really hot here today, so my hands are quite sticky, which is probably why the cards in the intro flew everywhere, because the cards stuck to my fingers as I was moving my hands over them. So I apologize if I might get a little fumbly here with the cards. 2 more, thank you. 1 more. 1 more, please. 1 more. Okay, so there is hesitation. There is some kind of trepidation here about doing something. Maybe you're uncertain, like, I don't know if this is right. Yeah, look at that. We've got the 2 of Swords here. Okay, and we've got the 2 of Wands here. All right, so we have the 4 of Cups in reverse. We have the 2 of Swords in reverse. And we have the 2 of Wands. And we have the Knight of Wands the Page of Wands in the reverse. So I definitely feel a little bit of, well, maybe even a lot of doubt here. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of blocked energy or resistance to making a decision. So you're almost in a stalemate where you can't move forward and you can't really stay where you're at. So there's kind of a feeling of, I'm just not going to decide and hope that it kind of works out or the decision comes to me. It's really interesting because with the 4 of Cups in reverse, I get a feeling of I no longer want to sit in this dissatisfaction. So I'm going to stop doing the things that I kind of am 50% on. The 4 of Cups can be this energy of, what are the things that I'm saying yes to, but I'm really kind of not into? So it's the kind of the half yeses that are also half no's, that I have my toe in, that I'm really not committed to or feeling joyful or good about. So this can feel like a bit of a people-pleasing energy where I'm going to say yes to the things that are sort of feeling okay, but I really want to say no to them. And when you're taking this 4th cup here, this is the 100% yes, where it's this invitation to take the 100% yes and leave the half-filled cups away to the side so that you can really invest in this 100% yes. And in order for us to really make space for the 100% yeses, we have to say no more often to those opportunities that are half yeses, that aren't quite aligned, where we do feel resistance, where things aren't quite falling into place. I feel like you're really coming into that energy. If you haven't already started along that path, you want to at the very least, get out of this disappointed energy or this boredom energy. Maybe you've been doing the same things over and over and over again, or maybe you've been in a cycle of doing a job that is just kind of on repeat. And maybe you are so bogged down with certain things at work that you can't say 100% yes to the hobby business you want to start, or to the friends or family that you want to spend time with on the weekends. So it's kind of making room for those things and saying no to the things that you're able to say no to, and that you're not really 100% committed or convinced that, yeah, this is for me. And yeah, we already talked about that 2 of Swords. Very similar energy to this gnome, where you're in between a rock and a hard place. And eventually, we can stay there all we want, but eventually there will be a decision that needs to be made. And the 2 of Swords is this energy of moving with intuition, moving through the intuitive body versus the logical mind, because I feel you can't really come to a logical decision in this particular situation. And the 2 of Wands is an energy of asking yourself what you want in life, in your future, looking out into the horizon. I feel like you have something already established, in a sense, where you've had a thought about something or a spark of inspiration, and now you're setting your intentions and starting to plan for how to make this a reality. So I feel that's part of your advice, is this energy of starting to make plans, or at least consider what's in your future. How do I get there? How do I build up on this idea? How do I build up on this intention? Because it's one thing to think about it. It's one thing to feel it. It's another thing to take action on it and take those small, measurable steps towards that thing that we want to achieve. And it's not about obtaining it in a day. These are those intentional actions and continually aligning with that goal in mind. You know, if I want to start a hobby business, what do I need to do right now to start making that happen? Maybe I work less hours so that I can dedicate more hours in the evenings or on weekends to my hobby business. Maybe I need to come up with a business plan. So I feel like action will really help you start to figure out or become clear about what the decision is. And with the Page of Wands in the reverse, I feel like you have this inspiration, but there is doubt and maybe a little bit of fear about taking this new direction. Maybe you feel you don't have the skills, or you don't have the creativity. Maybe you're worried about making mistakes. It's okay. That is how we learn, and that is how we figure out what is for us, is to have these experiences. So I feel experience is part of your message here, is to start having experiences so that you can start to understand the, I don't want to say the root cause, but understand how to make this decision and what information can you gather that might help. So we get clarifiers, Four of Cups in reverse, Four of Cups in reverse. Please clarify. And I just took a big breath, and I actually have no idea why I did that. So there's almost like you need to take a breath of fresh air. You need to take time out. Maybe do breath work. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So maybe you fear that whatever this thing is might cost you more money than it's worth. Maybe you are feeling like you're in a bit of a lack mindset, like whatever this idea I have is won't get me the abundance or the money that I'm looking for, or the legacy, or allowing me to really live in my creative truth and my physical abundance truth. I almost wonder too if health has something to do with things here. Maybe you have had some pretty big financial losses in the past when it comes to maybe some business or career dealings, and you're really nervous about maybe doing something new or continuing on because you're not really sure if this is going to repeat itself. Two of Swords in reverse. Clarify the Two of Swords in reverse. Yeah, we have the Tower card. So, interesting that the Spirit would come through with that. Remember how we talked about the Two of Swords? You know, if you are not going to make a decision, then eventually it will need to be made. And what I meant by that is either you're going to make the decision or the universe is going to make it for you. Because I feel this is a decision that can't not be made. It's a decision that can't be ignored. And I feel it's a decision that has something to do with your direction, or even your abundance, and moving you towards that a little more. And the Tower can be a bit of a sudden change. So when the Two of Swords in reverse comes out, we talked about that stalemate energy. This is kind of like sitting on the fence. I'm not going to decide right now because it either doesn't feel like the right time, or I don't have enough information, or I just don't feel ready to make the decision, and that's okay. But what are the actions that you are taking to help you become more clear, to help you make that decision? I feel like if there is someone who is kind of sitting on the fence, so to speak, that the universe will eventually come in and make this decision on your behalf with a sudden change of events that will kind of make this decision for you. I almost feel like it's a decision that you've been thinking about for some time, but have been hesitating to make. So yeah, we'll talk about the Two of Wands in the upright. Let's clarify that. And we have the Five of Cups. So this is, yeah, interesting that we started with the Four of Cups in reverse, which is that energy of being conscious about what I'm saying no to, what I'm saying yes to, and how aligned those no's and yeses are to where I want to go and how I want to feel. And then we have the Five of Cups, which is this energy of taking time to let go of those no's and grieve those no's, because maybe those no's have been really supportive or comforting or been kind of a staple in our life in some degree. But now we're looking out into the future, and these Two of Cups are here. So these are your 100% yeses that you are now going to say yes to and move on with. You can't take everything with you. So that's what this Two of Wands energy is this looking out into the future and daydreaming a little bit, setting intentions, having a plan. And that's also that King of Pentacles energy in reverse, is to think about what abundance looks like for you. Think about what wealth looks like, what health looks like, because it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody doesn't want to create abundance to have 10 cars and 2 mansions and have a private jet. Some people just want to have good health, which means maybe they're on an exercise plan, or they have a personal coach, or they have a good job, and they're able to eat good food and have a couple of pets. So it's going to be different for everyone. And I think that is going to really help you decide, is to gather information on what your 100% yeses are. What is it you want to manifest in your life in terms of that abundance? What does that abundance look like to you in specific? Whether it is money in the bank, whether it is 10 cars, or maybe it's just a little apartment in a city somewhere and you've got 2 cats and you're able to go on trips once a month. Whatever it is, I feel like that's what Spirit is asking you. What are those things that give you purpose, that give you sparks of inspiration, that really makes you feel hopeful and inspired about your future? What do you want to build towards? And I feel like that will really help you remove the stalemate energy and help you choose. Again, tapping into that intuition and that higher self. What is that vision of your higher self? What would they be doing? What would they be feeling? Where would they be living and working? What does their day-to-day look like? Let's get an oracle card to end your reading. I didn't shuffle or knock on these. Getting ahead of ourselves here. So, and look at that. It's time to just go for it, and maybe not let your fears, your anxieties, your doubts prevent you from taking the steps or start making those plans. Just because you can't see it unfolding in the now doesn't mean that you can't work towards seeing the things unfold in the future. But again, coming back to those small manageable steps, making that plan and taking those small actions towards that destination, which will require a little bit of discipline. I'm not going to lie. It will require you to let go of some things, whether that is emotions, feelings. You have to let go of the things that are holding you back and keeping you in place and keeping you in this indecisive energy. So reach for the stars, reach for the moon, and don't be afraid of making mistakes, because that is going to help you get to where you need to go. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 2. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. If you would like a personal reading or to purchase my pocket oracle deck, you can find all of that in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 3. Welcome to your reading. So you chose Create Change with Action with the Firehawk. And I also wonder, or almost wonder, I'm hearing a song in my head. We didn't start the fire. There could be some messages in there for you. But I feel a very, It's interesting. There's a lot of passion coming through in all of these readings. And I almost wonder if you are this person that is really defiant in their passions, who really stands up for what they believe in, who really wants to see change, so they take as much action as they need to in order to see that change happen. You might be in the midst of creating something to create some kind of change in your life, maybe in the world. This feels like a very worldly, I get a very worldly energy, so maybe you're doing big things that are going to change the world. Beautiful, if that is. Thank you for your service there. But it's almost like you're not afraid of resistance. You're not afraid of shining your light and letting it be seen. So you also chose the Brazilite stone, if that is any confirmation or resonating for you at all. All right, so Soul Path 3, mystery message for Soul Path 3. What would you like to share with them today? Thank you. Oh, interesting. So we have the Queen of Wands in the reverse position, which is almost a polar opposite to this Firehawk card. Because the Firehawk, like I mentioned, they're not afraid of resistance. They're not afraid of stepping forward and being seen and sharing their ideas and their creativity with the world. And the Queen of Wands can be a little bit, I don't want to say down and out, a little bit unconfident in her abilities. She doesn't have that charisma or that confidence to really share outwardly with the world. This feels like a very internal process right now. So maybe you want to change internally at the moment, and you're taking actions to see changes internally before you step out, maybe into the world. I'm not sure. Let's see what else. So we have the Hanged Man in reverse. So this definitely feels like some kind of enlightenment process that you're working through. And we have the Nine of Wands in the upright. And that I get kind of a very, not defensive, but perseverance and not worried about putting in the work. This is a very persistent energy and not giving up kind of energy. There's also a lot of boundary setting here with the Nine of Wands. So it's like you won't settle for less. You won't settle for anything other than what it is you're trying to achieve. So this could be the energy that you are embodying or something that you're working towards, maybe some advice for you. And then we have the Sun in reverse, which can be that energy of lacking a little bit of confidence or not seeing the bright side of maybe a situation that you're moving through right now. But I feel like whatever the energy that you're in at the moment is helping you change, whether that is your internal world or the world around you. I do feel like this is an internal process you're moving through, maybe to get your confidence back, maybe to have some kind of enlightenment about why you're feeling a certain way, why you're doubting yourself, why you're not really up for sharing yourself with others. That doesn't sound quite right, but that's kind of what came through. You could feel also a lack of motivation when it comes to the things that you want to create, that you want to put your time into. Maybe a nervousness. But there is a sense of isolation. You've been hiding. And for such a big, bold energy like I feel you're hiding yourself away from the world. You do not want to be seen. The only way to change that, and I feel like you do want to change that, is to see things differently. To sacrifice old beliefs that are keeping you small and keeping you from not stepping out into the world, of not being seen. I think there is a belief or a fear that is keeping you in this place. And I don't feel at a soul level that you want to be here. So now you're in this mode of trying to figure this out, of trying to see things from a different angle, different perspective. But it requires you to let go of an old you, an old story that you're telling yourself, an old belief that you have about yourself, to feel a little more, to come into some kind of enlightenment about the situation. You also, part of this message is, with the Hanged Man in reverse, is to not care about what others think. You cannot control what others think about you. You can only live in your integrity, your authenticity, and live in your best life, or for your best life, for yourself and nobody else. So if you are within that, then you cannot worry about controlling how you are perceived by others. That could be a big component, and could be the reason why the 9 of Wands is here, is because you've put so much effort into that. It's interesting that this is coming up, because on Thursday, I did a reading, a pick a card reading, about the shadow aspects of self and what's hidden. And I can't remember specifically which soul path was talking about this, but it's interesting that it came out here. So I'm wondering if you're coming from that reading, or you've seen that reading and now you're here, or vice versa. Maybe you need to go look at that video to see if there's any further messages there on advice on how to work through this, because you deserve to be seen. You have such an inner fire, a creativity, a beauty about you, that you are doing the world a disservice for not showcasing your skills, your abilities, your creativity, your love, your kindness, your charisma, your uniqueness. You should be proud of who you are. And I feel that there is a lack of pride in self. So I will ask you to explore that, so that we can take some of these guards down a little bit. I feel like there are good reason for these to be here. This is protective. This is preventative. But I don't know if it's valid anymore. And if it is, then I feel it's related to a situation that you need to remove yourself from. Of course, you'll need to use your discernment there. Inner child healing might also be something for some. So let's clarify what this Queen of Wands is about. Queen of Wands. And we have, this is inner work. 8 of Pentacles in the upright. This is inner work, or maybe a motivation or a lack of motivation to do the work. Maybe you don't know what work needs to be done. Maybe you know that work needs to be done, some inner work needs to be done, some spiritual work needs to be done, but you just don't really know what that is specifically, or what modality might help. But I feel like whatever this is might even be a cycle that you're moving through, that you've experienced. But also, too, it takes practice. So practice being is something that I'm hearing. But I feel it's all about, I want to say, turn the tables on that story. And to start telling yourself a new story based on a new reality that you want to create, that you want to build, that you've seen glimpses of. Catching yourself and taking action towards those things. So 6 of Pentacles is clarifying the Hanged Man. So this is a give and take energy, and it's in the upright, which I love paired with the Hanged Man, because this is bringing awareness to the people, the time, the activities, the money that you are investing. We want to make sure that the people that we're investing in are investing in us equally, and there's that reciprocal energy there. We don't want to invest in somebody that doesn't really value us, that doesn't appreciate us, that doesn't respect us, because that is just an empty well that will drain us, that will exhaust us, and will really affect how we feel about ourselves. We want to make sure that what is reflected in our 3-dimensional world is giving back what we're putting in. And that's not to say that we can't donate our time and donate our money to good causes, which could be something here for someone. because we don't expect to get that back. But there is the sense of helping. There is the sense of that fulfillment we get, that satisfaction we get. So there is that reciprocal energy. So even though we're not getting that money back, in a sense, we are gaining something from that exchange. So looking at those exchanges in life and deciding if those experiences are worth our time, effort, and resources. Are we benefiting in some way? Or is somebody else benefiting from our kindness in a negative way, where they take advantage of us? They treat us poorly. 9 of Wands in the upright. So that could be part of your past experiences as well, where you have been among people who haven't treated you well. And so you've now maybe defined yourself based on their perception of you. It's time to let that perception go and tell a new story about yourself. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So there's a lack of assessment of maybe, or not lack of assessment, but there's some things that need to be pruned out that you may be nervous about pruning out or letting go of. And again, the 7 of Pentacles is kind of taking that step back and looking at the garden and figuring out, okay, what's bearing fruit? What didn't do so well? What do I want to have in the garden? What do I not want to have in the garden anymore? So this is really looking at those things, taking that step back and taking a look at it and being really mindful about what's in your garden, what you want, what you don't want, what is giving you that return on investment, metaphorically speaking, and what isn't. What are the weeds that you need to pull? But I feel up until this point, maybe you've prevented yourself from doing that because it means that you might have to set more boundaries. You might have to say no more often. You may have to disappoint people. And that can be a really scary thing. So, I mean, any of this work that I'm talking about, none of it has to be done. But I feel like you're here because you're looking for some guidance on how to move through this. And so I think that's part of your advice, is to look at the things you're investing in, and look at how you're investing in yourself, looking at the spiritual work that you're doing, maybe even the physical work that you're doing, whether that is your health or how you dress. Do you feel good in your presentation? And I feel like this is it's a time to really celebrate yourself. It's time to really put the spotlight on yourself, if only for yourself. To really feel good about who you are as a human, because I feel you are a good person. So it's time to treat yourself that way and really highlight some of the beauty in your life, some of the beauty within you. And that could be a little exercise. Seeing value in yourself. I can get a final card for Soul Path 3. Okay, so you got too many. So we're going to keep going. And I feel like you have too many things. Your list is going to be long. Okay, so Spirit is insisting I give you more than one. Okay, so truth. I feel like there's some kind of truth that you need to understand about yourself, that you need to accept about yourself. And funny, this card, and maybe that's why they're giving this to me, this is the pile or the soul path that was also in Friday's reading. So I do think you should check that out. And I can't remember if that's where I talked about worrying about what others think, but maybe that's why this one came out, is because the truth lies in that reading for you. And then we have do nothing. It's an interesting thing because this is about exploration. This feels like exploration to me. Like we talked about taking that step back to assess, But I almost feel like doing nothing. Oh, it's so interesting because it's like, well, we've got create change with action here. And then we have do nothing. So this feels very conflicted, and I don't really know how to read this, to be quite honest. Maybe to find the truth, we need to do nothing. So it's almost like coming to stillness before we take action. Coming to some kind of understanding or knowing before we take action. Because if we start taking action without kind of working through or muddling through the truth of something, the truth of the matter, the heart of the matter, then we're almost spinning in circles, or we're not really going anywhere because we don't really have a plan. We don't really have a direction or a purpose in mind. And that's almost this hanged man energy, where this delayed feeling. The hanged man is delays, because it's like, well, let me just put myself upside down for a minute so that I can see things from a different point of view. And so that can also speak to the do nothing or the delay as well, is to spend some time sitting with yourself and doing nothing. Maybe you are a very active person, and maybe you do take a lot of action, and maybe that's why you chose this card, is because you want to fix, you want to change, you want to improve. But in order to find the truth of things, in order to find, I don't want to say the right way forward, but the right way forward for you at this time is to do nothing so that you can find the truth. To observe your feelings, to observe your thoughts, to observe your intuition. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 3. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. If you would like to book a personal reading or purchase my Nature Lovers Pocket Oracle deck, you can find the link for that in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 4. Welcome to your reading. And interesting, Soul Path 4 chose the number 4. And Snow, pause to process, recover, and release. You also chose the rose quartz crystal. I almost feel like some self-love is coming through here. You need to pause to recover from something, to recuperate, to rejuvenate your energy stores. There's some kind of mental healing, I feel, that happens in this pausing. That I feel you are being called to do at this time, or maybe you're currently in this energy where you are reaffirming your spiritual, your physical, your emotional, your mental foundations at this time. So you've taken a step out. There's almost a sense of an isolation energy because you need to process something, recover from something, or find a way to release something that is no longer serving you. So winter is a time where things go dormant. Nothing can grow, nothing can really be planted, and the snow is a very quiet energy. So I almost wonder if this is where you're at, or this is what you're encouraged to do at this time. And so it's really hot in this room right now, so I was just going to say, I've been fumbling the cards a lot because my hands are really sticky. And I don't know if you noticed in the beginning or at the end of the intro, I caught some of the cards and they kind of flew everywhere. I left it in because I didn't want to go ahead and cut the last 5 seconds and redo it. And so it is kind of what it is. So let's get 3 cards for Soul Path 4. What message do they need to hear? Thank you. Oh, look at that. Another 4. 4s can be very significant for you. So 4s are that energy of foundation. In whatever, in this case, it's financial foundation. And being very reserved about how you spend your time, energy, money. What is happening with the cards here? 2 more. Spirit, 2 more. Okay. This one I'm going to take as the bottom of the deck. And we will look at the bottom of the deck. Just because it might give us a little more information, so I'll do that in a sec. So interesting. 9 of Wands came out in most of the readings. I think 3 out of the 4, maybe 4 out of the 4, I'm not sure. So we do have the 4 of Pentacles in the upright. We have the 9 of Wands in the reverse. And then we have the 6 of Wands in the upright. And the other card that flipped out was the 5 of Cups. So this is that releasing energy. And then, just out of curiosity, we have the 10 of Swords, which is a bit of a painful ending that possibly you are moving through at this time, which could have something to do with this 5 of Cups energy, where you are moving through some kind of sorrowful energy, some emotional difficulty. The 10 of Swords to me is always death by 1,000 cuts, so that might resonate, it might not. It just might mean that something that you've experienced has been quite painful, and it could have to do with communication or words with others. It could have to do with mental health, whether it's you or someone else. But I really feel like you're moving through an energy of grief, sorrow, emotional difficulty, and I feel like that's why this pause to process, recover, and release is all about, is there needs to be space to process something quite heavy or difficult that you are moving through or have gone through. And it might not be in the present moment. I think there's some of you here that have not processed something that has happened previously. So now it's the time to process that. And even though it happened a year ago or 10 years ago, it almost feels like it wasn't completely healed from. So it's kind of coming back. And again, that's for some of you, not all of you. But this 4 of Pentacles energy is being very reserved with yourself, needing to have that security, that comfort, that feeling like I've got everything that I need in my life to make me feel secure, stable, and comfortable. This could mean that you're a really good saver and you have money in the bank, or you're moving through a period of scarcity where you are having financial difficulty, so you're being really good about your finances at this time. Or you could be very restrictive with how you spend money. So even though you might have the financial stability, you're really nervous about spending money on yourself, about spending time or spending energy on something. Again, I just get a very isolated energy with these two, where it's like I need to have my security and comforts right now, and I can't step out into the world. And that could be part of why this 5 of Cups came out, is because you haven't moved through something, it's still present in your life. So it's almost preventing you from living life, because you can't let go of the feelings that you have about this person or this situation. And this could be, I'm getting a very anxious feeling, and I almost wonder if this was pandemic related, because during that time, everyone was isolated in their own spaces, wherever that was. And I feel like a lot of people are really nervous about experiencing life again, about traveling, about being in crowds. So that's almost the energy that I get, is like something impacted you to a great degree at some point, or you're moving through that now, and you're almost keeping to yourself. The 9 of Wands is this energy of releasing of responsibilities or letting the guard down to some degree. Now, I don't know if that's advice or something, again, that I feel you're moving through once this has been officially processed and released, is that your guard is going to come down and you're no longer going to be looking for the next thing that you have to dodge or weave, or there's a lack of alertness that I'm getting from this 9 of Wands, where you're feeling more empowered with being out in the world, of following your joys, of having new experiences that are positive and playful even. And I do feel like whatever this is, you're going to overcome, because the 6 of Wands is this energy of, I've been through a pretty big thing, and now I'm on the other side of this, and I can now celebrate and be celebrated. The Six of Wands really promises that moment of celebration where we can really take stock of all of the work we've done to remove the boundaries, to release the things that are no longer serving us, to do the healing that we need to do. So I feel like this is a healing process that you're moving through, and it's going to take away so many things that have been limiting you, to the point where you can start celebrating again and enjoying life. So let's get some clarifiers. What is this Four of Pentacles, Spirit? And again, coming back to that rose quartz, that is a self-acceptance. That is love, self-love. And that could be part of this message, is that during this time of isolation or moving through a period of sorrow, moving through some emotional feelings, you have another four. This is really wild. We have the Four of Swords. So this is the pause and recover card. This is the restoration of that energy. This is recuperation from something that has been very painful. This is your time out to be reserved, to be with yourself, to love yourself, to practice self-care, to really honor your emotions, honor your physical body and what your physical body needs, what your mental body needs. I feel like this is a difficult energy, but I'm also getting a very beautiful energy from this as well, because this Six of Wands is shouting from the rooftops that you are finally done and over with it. And not to say that maybe you'll be happy to have been moved through this energy finally. But this is a celebration of the fact that you have done the work and you did what you need to do to move through it. Not that this thing happened, but the fact that you finally released it. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off your shoulders. And I feel it's more emotional and spiritual than anything else. And I don't know what it's regarding. It's going to be different for everyone, but Nine of Wands. I will laugh if another four comes out. We've got a lot of fours. So stability, Spirit is doubling down and tripling down on the stability. It's time to find your solid ground again. And that solid ground is going to be the catapult for new experiences and joyful experiences, playful experiences, getting curious about life again. And we have the Page of Wands in the reverse. So there might be some self-doubt, or maybe a youthful energy that you're dealing with or have dealt with in the past where you had to be on guard about something. But the Page of Wands is this energy of being curious and playful and following the joy and being expressive. But in the reverse, there's a bit of self-doubt there. There's a lack of confidence. There's even a worry about making mistakes. But in this creative, playful energy, where it's okay to make mistakes, there's no set rules. So I feel like leaving the rules behind is going to be part of this process. And I almost get that you're going to be more playful with life. You're going to be more expressive in life because you're no longer burdened spiritually or emotionally, maybe even mentally, because you've done the work. You've done the healing work. You've done the grounding work. You've done the emotional work in whatever capacity that works for you. So it's not only a release of all of these burdens that you've been carrying around possibly for some time, but it's about being open to exploring and learning new things and not being worried about the results or the outcome or the process, but just to get experimental and curious about life again. So Six of Wands, let's see what that's about. Six of Wands. So you got two, which I will take and just touch on them quickly. We have the Two of Swords in reverse and the Eight of Cups in reverse. Now, the Two of Swords is this, I don't know if I can do it energy. I can't make the decision. I'm stuck. I am at a stalemate energy. Neither decision feels right, feels good. And that's okay. It's okay for you to be in this energy of I'm not deciding. But I feel like Spirit is encouraging you to move through something and to start making choices again. Even though you might not have the information, this is an intuitive practice. This is an intuitive exploration of, what do I feel is best for me at this time? What do I feel like I need? What is my intuition telling me that I need right now? And so I feel like that is part of this process, is the intuitive aspect is starting to come in here. And the Eight of Cups in the reverse, it is, nervousness of the discomfort zone, of maybe letting some emotional or some feelings go, because maybe you've defined yourself or your situation or your life on certain emotions for so long, even though they might not be serving you, they have offered you a sense of comfort and safety and security, and maybe even just it's familiar for you. So letting go of emotions can be quite difficult, and leaving things for the unknown can also be quite difficult, which may be why the Two of Swords is here. You have a desire to do differently and explore and get creative and curious, but you're really afraid of what's on the other side of that decision. What does that look like? How risky is it? But to me, this feels like it's not the time to step out into the world or the discomfort zone yet. I think that eventually you will get there once you start making the choice to do so. And maybe that's why the Two of Swords is in reverse, is because it isn't the right time for you. Maybe this is a stay put and explore myself a little bit, and explore my feelings, explore what it is I need right now, rather than taking action and doing something before you're ready. Because I feel like whatever this is needs to be fully processed and healed before you can really step into the Six of Wands, this celebratory energy, this happy-go-lucky, excited energy. So, final card for Soul Path 4, please. Final card for Soul Path 4, strongest energy for Soul Path 4, please, Spirit. Yeah. So, very similar energies. This feels like a 4, and we have 4 moons here. Well, we've got a big moon, but we've got 4 kind of crescent moons here. This is about slowing it down. Pause to process, recover, and release. This isn't a time for action. This is a time to observe, internally observe what's happening, and observe yourself. Slowing it down to really process what has happened, to process how you're feeling. And, maybe you want something to happen now, but the timing might not be quite right. And this isn't about patience, it's about actively slowing things down and not pushing so hard to be somewhere that you might not be ready, where you might not be ready to be yet. Focus on what you want and not what you don't want, and be graceful as you wait without trying to force anything or anyone. So do what you can to take a step back and stay strong and centered in your own power, instead of dissipating your energy and focusing on what you can't control. So that feels very much like this energy here, where you're being strong and centered by focusing on self and taking away kind of the need to control the external circumstances or to make something happen when it's not quite ready. And it's almost like good things come to those who wait, and that kind of feels like this is it. The Six of Wands is the good things are coming, but we just have to pause, slow it down, and do a bit of healing work, I feel, in the process, or at least recover and properly recuperate from something that we've been through. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 4. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. If you would like a personal reading or to purchase my Pocket Oracle deck, you can find the link for that in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading.